Good evening, folks. Got a quick review of a fruit IPA today, slightly outside my usual, but this is a fruit bat passion fruit IPA from Max. I've looked at Max before, so I won't spend any time going over that. They say that they chose passion fruit because they thought it went particularly well with the very hoppy nature of IPAs. They say they tried all sorts of different fruits, came up with passion fruit. Fair enough, interesting. The little bit about the beer, they start with Pilsner and crystal malts, and then a big dollop of Pacific Jade hops, and then they add Cascade and Motueka hops into the whirlpool, and then they finish it off by double dry hopping with a mix of Amarillo, Simcoe and Muteri hops. So that's a heck of a lot of hops added at all different stages of the brew, and it's also quite a wide range, so you'd expect this to be an absolute hop monster, which is the opposite of what I'm normally looking for in a beer. So it'd be interesting to try it. They do say that the passion fruit is added at the end, and that it's designed to highlight the hops, citrus and tropical notes. So it should end up with a sort of zesty, fruity beer. And Max have this strange flavour scale out of 7, and they say that this is a 6 out of 7, and so it's much more of a savoury beer. And it is 7%, which is a little bit unusual when it's combined with, I guess, trying to be a tart refreshing beer, because a tart refreshing beer you might think was a sort of quenching session type beer, although I hate that phrase. But at 7%, you're not going to be wanting to slam this down at a huge rate of knots, unless you're trying to actually get yourself plastered. So let's have a bit of a look at it. Definitely pours darker than your average IPA, fairly restrained sort of head. Looks a little bit more like a standard ale. Fairly restrained on the nose, not that massive hop explosion that you get out of a lot of craft beer IPAs, but there definitely is a fruitiness there. It comes through at the very tail end of the aroma as you smell it. Taking a swig, it's an interesting beer. It's a long way from what I almost expected, which was a massive explosion of very bitter hops. In fact, it's quite a complex, sorry folks, I can't talk today, a complex mixture of hoppiness, and I guess that may be partly due to the 7% smoothing it out and giving the extra body. There's definitely the tartness of the passion fruit comes in as a pleasant fruity aftertaste, so you're not left with that typical strong bitterness. If you're a real fan of the bitter IPAs, that's probably going to be a disappointment. If you sometimes find that a bit much, it may be a refreshing change. I'd probably struggle to pick the fact that it was passion fruit. I might guess more along the lines of some sort of citrus, but it is a pleasant fruit flavour. It doesn't taste like fruit wine or any sort of artificial flavour. So it's an interesting beer. I suspect that it's probably best enjoyed not in the middle of winter as we are now, but more on a warm summer's day. But it would you definitely want to make sure that it was warm summer's day and when you didn't want to be doing too much else with that 7%, even with these 330ml bottles, and that you wouldn't want to be getting through too many. This is one of Mac's limited edition brews, so instead of coming in a 6-pack, it comes in a 4-pack. Makes it a little bit more expensive. It's usually about $12-13, which is what the 6-packs often sell for, so I guess they're asking for a little bit extra. It's an interesting beer, and if it turns up again, I'd be interested to try it. I would have thought they could go slightly harder on the passion fruit, but as it is, I'd give it 15 out of 20, And if the idea of a fruity IPA appeals, then if you see this one around, give it a go. Hope you're enjoying what you're drinking tonight, and catch you again. Cheers.